I think we all had ideas of how this would all culminate and come to an end. I don't think I expected it to have the emotional gut punch that I was given. But I'm going to give you my thoughts and reactions to the series finale of FX's The Patient right after the jump. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. We made it. We made it all the way through. We're on the final episode of FX The Patient, and we were right on some things, we were wrong on some things. But I did not expect, but I do appreciate how un-Hollywood this ending that we get is. This episode's called The Cantor's Husband, and we pick up right after the last episode. Sam is on his way to go see his father because, gotta go kill him. That's the way that this fixes all of this. And we have Alan screaming up to the high heavens to Candace yet again, saying, "Hey, Candace, get down here. We got a problem." He doesn't say we got a problem like he did last time, but he's like, "Yo, you got to get down here." And in that, he tells her, "Your son's off to go kill your husband, your ex-husband, his father." He thinks that's going to fix him. And without hesitation, her response is alarming and odd, but telling. She's like, "Well, will it?" Like, not that he's going to go murder someone or murder someone that she used to be with, but it's just like, well, will that fix him? Because all she cares about is fixing him. And in that, we learn that like this is her normal routine when her son is off doing the things that he does, when he's off killing. She just sits there, has a beer, and kind of just relaxes. She's like, I'm nervous, I'm concerned, I'm scared for both him and the families that are involved. I imagine and think about the moms and their kids and the dads on the ground with their kids and the playtimes they won't be able to have anymore, but that's kind of the end of it. And Alan calls her bluff and is like, "Well, you do all that, but you never call the cops." And her response is simply just, "I can't." And it's a weird thing that I think it's a parental thing where she's, "I can't turn in my boy. Like, I want him to be alive. I want him to be okay, but I don't want to be the one that traps him. I don't want to be the one that puts him in a box or has him killed." And that's important as we get towards the back end of this. We then see Sam and his very strained relationship with his father, because he does go to show up to his father's place. Knocks on the door. His father lets him in, and he starts making him a sandwich because he says, "Are you hungry?" He doesn't respond, but he just goes and starts making him a sandwich. While he's making him a sandwich, this is important. Sam goes to the restroom because he's always drinking them tall ass coffees. He goes to the restroom, but when he uses the restroom, he uses his foot to open the toilet to try to not leave any fingerprints, which is, he has every intent to kill his dad in that moment. They sit down, they have a conversation, and in that, he's just trying to get some information. He's basically like, "Hey, why did you beat me?" And his father's very flippant. He kind of doesn't have a real answer. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know." And he's like, "Well, did you get anything out of it?" He's like, I don't know. You're a weird ass kid. You're weird. Mom knew you were weird. She was reading all these books about you being weird. Sort of blamed it on me. So I took it out on him. And that's how you kind of read that, is that he felt the mother was blaming him for Sam's oddities. And in that, he's like, "I'm going to beat this out of him." That's kind of what we got out of that. That's not a serviceable enough answer for Sam. And he launches and starts to choke him out. And you think like, well, crap, this is how this is going to go. None of me talking about bringing him back and all that stuff. He starts choking him out, and you can see the life leaving him. And then he gets to a point where he just lets go. And you're like, wait, what? And then we get a shot of him back in front of Alan talking. He's like, "I couldn't do it. I couldn't kill him." It's funny because there's a line right when he releases from his dad, when he stops choking him and says, "Hey, my therapist told me I shouldn't kill you." Whatever Sam is getting from Alan, in a way, while it doesn't seem like it, it is having some type of effect. It is working in some manner for him. But he gets back to Alan, and they start talking. And some of this is self-preservation. Some of this is smoke he's blowing, because there's no way that he can feel that Sam is technically fixed. But he has a conversation with Sam. And Sam is like, hey, I couldn't do it. And Alan starts laying it on pretty thick. Like, well, hell, here's the deal. What's the difference between your father and all the other people that you've killed? You've been angry at other people before, and you've been angry at your father, but what's the difference? And Sam gives some BS answer at first, but then we get down to the brass tacks, and it's like, because he's my father. And he's like, yeah, that's it. That's the hint of it. No matter how angry or how upset you are at him, there's a bridge that automatically can't be crossed because you're like, that's my father. I can't kill him. And so there might be some type of healing that has happened. This is your first step. You are better. And then there's a brief moment of a smile that comes across Sam's face. Because Alan says, like, you're on the road to recovery. You're much better. He's like, I'm proud of you. He says that. And those are words that I don't think Sam's ever heard from either parent, from Candace or his father. And in that moment, he's pretty damn pleased and happy as punch. What Alan sort of lays on is that you see a bit of yourself in your father. Like, the ugliness that is in you connect that with what your father has given you. And so you needed to go to him, try to kill him, and be able to needed to not kill him. It's extraordinary, and it's a breakthrough. And then that Sam's kind of like, all right, cool. Well, I'm doing better. Sam at that point is still trying to say, hey, we're going to keep this same relationship. Like, this is what we need to do. And Alan's like, all right, now that you've had a breakthrough, I'm still willing to be your therapist. I can be your therapist, but here's the deal. We need to do this not here. Because while you have had a breakthrough with your father, I need to have a breakthrough with my son. I've learned in here this whole time that I've been here that there have been some issues, and some things are my fault, some things are his, but I need to work on them like I have worked on you with your father and your parentage and your situation. So therapists need therapy too, basically, is what he gets to. He's like, hey, I've been having some self-therapy sessions with myself. So here's the deal. We should let me go, and we should still meet daily. And then after a while, we can do this 3 times a week because I see things turning on the correct side from you. And if you ever get to a point where you feel the urge to kill or go down that path again, we can look into putting you into a therapeutic institution that can hold you for a while so that you are allowed to recover and get out of that before it's too late. It's like, let's go ahead and make that move to do the next thing, but I can't be here. I can't do anything else here for you. And this is sort of that last ditch effort to say, hey, you need to let me out of here. What we're doing looks like it may be working, although we all know that Alan's blowing smoke up Sam's ass. But it's working enough that you should believe that it's working and that you can let me out of this. Sam has other ideas. Sam reflects on it a little bit. He goes to eat breakfast. He contemplates what to do next, but he brings a couch in and a mini fridge. Without saying, I'm not going to release you, he's basically saying, I'm keeping you by bringing this couch in, bringing this mini fridge in. And the look on Alan's face, the second he sees that couch come in, he's kind of questioning, like, what's going on. And then when he sees the fridge happening, he knows good and well that he's not being allowed to be released. And then Sam says, hey, we're going to put a TV in here. We'll keep you in here. It'll be fine. I realize that we need to do more for you because you're not going to be staying here. Because you said that therapy, and this is where Alan sort of backed himself into a corner a little bit. And this is the small things. It just shows you that his brain's not developed enough. But he takes what he wants to kind of make the story work for him and his brain. But Alan did say to Sam, hey, therapy takes years. And in that's what he remembered. He's like, well, you got to be here a while because while that's a small breakthrough of me not killing my father, I need more time. We need to do this more. So he's like, I'm going to keep you here as a pet, essentially. Keep you here, have you locked up, give you a TV, give you all this stuff, but I need to keep you here. And Alan is a bit defeated. And what we get in a bit in the disassociate state with Charlie is another therapy session. And he's like, look, I get why this kid is this way. Anybody who's gone through as much abuse as he has, I don't see how they all don't become serial killers. But I got to get out of here. I can't be here. And Charlie sort of is like, he has replaced you. You are now the father for him. Like, you replaced what his actual father has done for him. You've given him more hope and ideas for himself, and now he sees you as that father figure. But he can't just stay there. Like, it's beyond him for that. We see a moment of him writing a note. We don't know what's on the note, but he leaves it with Meshuggah, a little Meshuggah, and then he puts the note behind the lamp that's on his side table. It's important to note that Alan says Sam didn't kill his father because he was his father and he has a connection to him. Sam sees Alan as his replacement father. And we see how this episode goes, how much that connection matters or is in effect. Like, he doesn't have the full father protection that his actual father has. So as the next scene starts, Alan basically has in his head that there's only really two options left for him. He either needs to go to prison or he needs to take me out. Like, I can't be here. I cannot be your pet for however long you see fit. And so he wakes up Sam and they have a conversation. And in that he's just like, I can't be your pet. I cannot be here. This cannot go on long term. And then he starts backtracking on some of the things. This is where it gets a little bit messy as a therapist, because now you're putting two different things in Sam's head. Because a lot of the messiness was like you were trying to get out of the situation, but you're not fully putting forth the effort. And I get it. This is a taxing situation. You've been captured. You've been trying to get out. It is tense this entire time. But you've not been completely forthcoming because somebody whose brain is very malleable. It's easily turned and maneuvered and switched in every type of way that it can be a lot for him. With Sam really leaving Alan no choice, he sort of has to put his next plan into action. Now, here's what's interesting. Sam does at least go out to the police station and kind of just stares. At the very least, there's enough that is happening in his brain, and he has enough care for Alan that he's like, all right, I'll think about this. But he just can't. He can't do it. And he goes back home, he eats breakfast with his mom, and his mom takes a plate down to Alan. And in that, Alan starts talking to Candace. Something that I think we've all sort of said, and we've said this entire time, is that Candace has been very complicit in all of this. She retreats when something terrible happens. She says she just sits there and has a beer when her son's out there killing people. She's chosen to live a life where, yeah, you're not harming anybody. You're not putting anybody through pain. And you've been through a lot of pain and abuse as well. But you're also not doing anything about it. You're just kind of standing by. And maybe it's because you don't have the tools to do anything, but you've been very complicit. And in that, she becomes a bit emotional. As she becomes emotional, Alan grabs a tissue box, as he's done earlier in this episode, to give her something when she's starting to tear up, and extends the tissue box out. She tries to grab for it, and then he corrals her and grabs her and holds her hostage by the neck, where she's face forward, and has the shiv that he's made at her neck. And he starts screaming for Sam to come downstairs. Sam comes downstairs and is like, what the hell's happening? Now, in this moment, we've already gone past the point of no return. No matter what, it's either he's going to let him go, which, no, or he's going to have to kill Sam. Because even if your pet is now gone rabid, if you will, and even if he doesn't kill her in this moment, he's going to have to take him out for fear of always trying to be on the guard. So Alan is already drawing the line in the sand. Because you can see the police is not an option for him. He's not going to the police. So the only other option is, like he said, he's either going to go to the police, that's one option, or you're going to have to do what you said you're going to do before you're going to take me out. And the important thing to know that when this plan gets enacted, it is clear that Alan has made peace with the fact that he may not make it out of this. And so there's a back and forth, and Sam's like, you can't do this. You don't have the manhood to do this. You're not. That's not the type of person you are. It's also kind of like I can't take you out. I can't kill you because there's a connection there. I care about you. I don't want you to do this. Don't do this. But I can't go to the police. But he's just frantic, and he even gets a little loud with him. For the first time towards Alan, we see anger. Which is something that Alan knows he has to invoke in Sam to make all of this work. There's that fatherly figure that he always has with him, but for this plan to go according to as he needs it to, Sam has to be pissed off at Alan. He has to be so angry, and in that he starts screaming, he's like, "We don't cut each other off down here. We don't do that." And it's that small things, as simple as that, his boss reading that letter to him in front of people is enough to kind of trigger Alan to like, all right, now Sam's on the bad side. Sam is now somebody that I am angry with. When he says that you don't have the manhood to do this, you can't do this, we see a shot of Alan putting the shiv into Candace's neck and blood starting to come out. And then we switch scenes and we go to black, if you will. We see a shot of Alan's wife, sort of in the afterlife, if you will. It looks like it may be in a chamber. I think this is one of those sequences that is very, very Jewish and very foreign to me, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there, but it is clear that he's seeing somebody in the afterlife. We then see a shot of him with his family, with Ezra, his wife, his kids, and their family singing a Orthodox Jewish song and prayer around a dinner table. It's very happy. It's very peaceful. It's for him. It's the moment that he's spending with Ezra and being one. They're kind of now a family. Whatever reconciliation that they had, it has been done. And it's interesting because in this you have a little bit of a twofold. It feels like the director and the creators are trying to say, hey, the sequences happen. Maybe they have sort of pieced it up and everything after that situation is gone. Maybe something happened and Alan found a way out of that basement. We all know, and this is where I kind of was like, this is him sort of the life flashing before his eyes. He starts seeing the happy moment, or the moment that he would like to have done. Sadly, had he removed himself from this situation, he would be able to spend that time with Ezra so that he could allow Ezra the grace and humility to say, I was wrong, and let's do things the way that you kind of want to do things. It's a beautiful scene until it becomes a very scary scene, because as we pan back, we start seeing Charlie in the corner. And Charlie just came to that look of, this is it. And then we quickly flash back to Sam on top of Alan, choking him out. And we as an audience are sitting there like, well, if he sees him as a father, similar to like he did with his father earlier, he might release, but he doesn't. Candace, again, impishly sits by in the corner and he screams. She yells out for Sam, like, Sam, stop, no. But unfortunately, he never lets go, and Sam kills Alan. It is a very un-Hollywood ending. It is probably the only way that something like this could occur. Either Sam has to get caught in the act and is killed there, and thus the police abscond upon the place, or Alan has to die. And he does. And then Sam unchains Alan, and what for me starts off as the most disrespectful piece of this is that he plans to put Alan in the grave that Alan dug, which I was like, oh, that's some bullshit. Like, Jesus. But Sam then goes to the bedside that Alan had, and he finds the note. And he reads the note. And then some of the good feelings that he has for Alan took place. Now, what's crazy is that in the moment when he's choking him out, the anger is so strong, because Alan has sort of invoked that on purpose. But the grace that he gave his actual father is not there for his replacement father. Because while you have acted as my replacement father, you're not actually my dad. He realizes that he needs to give this note to uh, his kids, Ezra and his daughter, Shoshana. And so he does. He puts the note in the mail for Shoshana's house. Or I looked actually. He puts the letter in the note for Alan's house because he knows where Alan lives. He doesn't know where Shoshana lives. He puts the Alan in there, and then Shoshana goes to sort of gather all the mail because she's just keeping up with that. Gather all the mail. She opens it, and there's a note wrapped around it saying, "I hate to be the one to inform you of this. Your father is dead. He helped me." And I know this is a big thing for the Jewish community about the body. So while we do see the scene of him dragging him into there, he moves it once he sees the letter because he realizes that, hey, there's a reconciliation that he was trying to have. That's all he wanted. I can give that to him, even though he's no longer here. So he takes the body and moves it and puts it in a place that he marks for them. And then there's a whole note that Alan has kind of left. And it is basically saying that, yeah, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I loved all of you, both of you dearly. You two were the light of my life. Shoshana, we had a couple of issues, but for the most part, it was all good. It was all gravy. I loved you, and you and I pretty much ended on some fantastic terms. And I just want you to know that I love you, and I don't want this death to decide how you go about living the rest of your life. I don't want this to define your life, which hit hard for me because I lost my mom pretty early in life, and so it is something that like you don't want that to be the burden that is on the rest of your life, and I get that. And then the rest of the note is for Ezra, and so we see a scene of Shoshana tearing up, reading it, and then we split to see Ezra reading it with Shoshana at his side, and he's tearing up. And the rest of the letter is for Ezra saying, I love you dearly, son, and I've made some mistakes with you, and a lot of the anger and whatnot that we've had with each other, you were right on mostly everything. And I made the mistake of trying to put a lot of the blame that I had on your mother. Like the hate felt like it was coming from your mother, but it wasn't. It was from both of us, mostly me. And I want you to know that, and I'm sorry. And I wish we could have done this in person, but I also, again, don't want you to define this for the rest of your life. You have a loving family, you have a loving wife, kids, and I'm sorry. And he's like, this isn't on you. And then he says something that I had to look up because I didn't know what Meshuggah means. But even if you are a little Meshuggah, which means a little crazy, a little bit of a jackass, that's what it sort of translates to. Which is sort of adding a little of his humor into a situation that is very bleak and dark. That hurt me. And I know this probably doesn't work for everybody. I know this isn't that bow on the end of being a happy ending that he didn't get away, but the death to the note and sort of asking the kids for forgiveness, he has gone through his own therapy in this and has hopefully created a path for his kids to sort of heal, deal, and try their best to come out on the other side of this in some way whole, and that they're not holding the burden of some of the pain that they have done. We then see a shot of Sam. Sam comes home and he has an existential. He has a catharsis moment with Alan, who I think is going to now be a part of his life in the way that Charlie was a part of Alan's. Alan's going to be a part of Sam's for the rest of his life through the mental. But Sam talks in his brain. His lips don't move in the sequence, but he voiceover says to Alan. And I think this is just a way for us to see that there's no, it's a clear cut, Alan is gone. But this is a clear way to say, hey, he's now seeing this in his head. So Sam talks through his brain, through his head, and then Alan responds. But he basically asks, like, hey, am I good? Like, am I not? And Alan's like, his brain, his self-conscious also knows this, is that, yes, you're absolutely going to kill again. Like, you're not healed, you're not fixed, there's no breakthrough. He is now starting to realize that, oh, crap, a lot of what Alan was saying to me was so that he could get out of this, and not so much that I'm actually fixed. And so he takes the chain that he has had Alan chained to all this time and puts it around his leg and locks it, calls for his mom and locks it and gives the key to her. There's a lot of layers happening in that moment. One, it is clear that in some way he's taking the bill of it, but some way he listened to Alan. He did that note that he put to Shoshana. He helped me. He did in a way. Because he said you either need to go to the police or you need to kill him. He still killed Alan, but he didn't go to the police. But he did lock himself away. He did realize that, hey, I can't be back out there on the street. I'm going to do this again. There's no way for me to go out. Mom, Candace, said that she wouldn't turn her kid in. She wouldn't put him in the police. She wouldn't do that. But she is willing to, if she can still keep an eye on him, still make sure that he's safe and he's okay, but also not doing the things where she gets nervous about him outside. This is the best case scenario for her as well. Where she's like, my son is locked in my basement. I don't have to worry about him. She'll probably go get the TV for him so that she'll have that down there. But she no longer has to stress about him taking the lives of someone else and that he is in still good care. And he's not in the police. She knows what's happening with her son day to day. So for them, it's the best case scenario. Although Sam doesn't get to go kill anyone, he does still get to follow some of the teaching that Alan has given him. He gets to follow, and Candace gets to kind of do the best case scenario for her, and that her son's with him, and no one else is being harmed by the things that he has done. Now, no one's finding him out. That's kind of the problem. Eventually, I'm assuming at some point he will be found out because there's going to be some rhyme or reason that she either turns him in, she dies, and then he dies, or subsequently, but something in there, they're left to their own devices and they're going to die together. We then see a shot of Ezra going to therapy and sort of getting under the hood of some of the mess that he's had with his dad. Sort of a full circle moment. He is now doing the work that Alan was doing with himself, in that basement. He now is going through that summer work to kind of get under the hood of what it was that was affecting him with his dad. And that note is sort of the jump off path for that. That was a fascinating series. Many ups and downs. I did not expect it to end this way. I also didn't expect him to get away. I think some of you in the channel have already said like Sam's going to kill Alan. But I think he would have been fine not killing Alan. I think Alan could have lived an entire long life, as long as he had left anywhere, down there in that basement. It would have been miserable. It would have been a painful life. He would have had to always think about the what ifs of Ezra out there with his grandkids and whatnot, and hope that maybe someday somebody would find him. But it's clear that Sam was too calculating and a little too specific for that to happen. Alan needed an out. And I think some of it is because his wife is gone already, that he was like, I'm comfortable with leaving. Like, I don't need to be here. As long as I leave this note for my kids. And I think we've connected enough of a rapport that you'll deliver this to my kids, that I'm okay with leaving. Like, I've done all I can do. I've got 2 kids. They've started their family. But my partner in crime, I just lost a couple months ago anyway. If you're not letting me out of here, I need to take the road to get out of here. And that's where this all kind of was leading. And it is painful for somebody who's lost parents, and even if you haven't lost, just the way that this is done, it's beautifully done. It's shot wonderful. Him seeing that last flash of her before he moves on to the goodness of what he could have had, or what he's trying to remember the relationship with Ezra to be. It's gorgeous. And then seeing the anger and the pain that Sam is going through with, he's lost all his fathers, and his mom now is the only person that's always been there for him, but has never really been the person to say, no, stop, don't do this, you can't do this. She's been complicit. Fascinating show, well written, well acted. Any of these shows that have these like 2 or 3 characters, it's almost like a 1-act play. You got me. That's my money spot. That's the sweet spot for me. But I do know that there are going to be people who don't like this. This is not that Hollywood ending. It does not end cleanly. It has a lot of things that are ambiguous. Like, how long are they going to be in that home? Mom, Candace, and Sam just chilling, doing the mommy dearest, bring stuff down to your murderous patient son. and you don't know. Shoshana's going to be fine. But we now see that Ezra now has to go to therapy. All of these sort of like morsels of loose ends, but that's not what this story is about. This story was about Alan and Sam, and there's a conclusion for the two of them. Alan has chosen to take himself off the board and go spend time with his wife in the afterlife. And Sam has chosen, off of all the information that Alan has given him, that, hey, you can't be allowed to walk free in this world. You need to be imprisoned. But he does so on his own terms. And that's kind of the yin and the yang. Those are the A and B. That is the finale of those two. And then we sort of see the ramifications of how that affects others around. Powerful stuff. What did you guys think? I know we've been on a long road for these last 10 episodes, and I've got a lot of people leaving comments and new subscribers to the channel, so I appreciate every single one of you. I'm kind of sad because some of you guys might not stick around. Some of you guys may follow on. If there are shows that you are watching or about to start watching and you'd like me to talk about them, leave those comments in the comments below, and I'll see if I can go ahead and start talking about those and join on. But it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. And I appreciate every single one of you. What did you guys think about this episode? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts, we're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.